Born on a banker's holiday in 1865, Nigel Davenport Bartholomew Angus Odell Beddinbath XVI was destined for greatness, but never really got there. From an early age, his father, Beddinbath XV, Lord of Beddinbath Manor, Vice Admiral of Her Majesty's Auxiliary Navy, and Royal Guardian of the Loo, had groomed the young lad to succeed him in the family cod fishing business, a tradition carried on by the Beddinbaths for nearly 500 years. Young Nigel, however, would have none of it. After a short stay at Oxford, he became a writer of trashy Victorian novels and a world-class Morris dancer. His mother and father would never speak to him again. In the early months of 1909, Nigel, now lord of the vast Beddinbath holdings after the untimely death of his parents in a bizarre codfish-related Zeppelin crash, would make a reckless decision, one of many to come, that would alter his fate and the fate of the world forever. While attending the International Morriscon in Blackpool, Lord Beddinbath chanced upon a screening of A Trip to the Moon, and would later meet its creator, early film pioneer Georges Méliès. An extraordinary talent and innovator still remembered to this day, Méliès would later write of his meeting with the enthusiastic Beddinbath. But since his letter is in French and we couldn't get a translation, we don't really care. Intrigued by this new and exciting art form, Beddinbath, upon his return to the manor house outside London, promptly sold off the cod fishing fleet and purchased a warehouse full of movie cameras, film stock, props, special lighting, and, for reasons unknown, a bull moose named Fred. Between the years 1910 and 1911, Nigel would produce a total of 1,250 films, all of them about himself. Among the many titles were I Am Lord Beddinbath, Lord Beddinbath Has Tea, and Lord Beddinbath Gives the Gardener a Damn Good Thrashing. Critical and financial flops, one and all, none have survived to present day. In the bleak winter of 1912, a despondent Beddinbath altered course once again and began to experiment with animation. His first attempt, Winky Tink, the Undead Dinosaur, was never completed, thanks in part to a bizarre codfish-related train crash that destroyed the film studio. Undaunted, Nigel would persevere and, after rebuilding, in the spring of 1914 created The Treasure of Cowskull Island. Considered a masterpiece by Fred the Moose, the film was written, designed, photographed, and edited by the tireless filmmaker himself in an astounding 2.5 days. Here we see a photograph taken of Lord Beddinbath shortly after the film's completion. Upon his release from hospital, Beddinbath found what he considered the ideal location to premiere his latest creation, a former pub and opium den in London's Lower East End, thanks largely to the inclusion of free beer, absinthe, and a multitude of sailors on leave, dockside workers, and a team of Australian rugby players. The event, according to a letter written by Nigel to his psychiatrist, was a smashing hullabaloo from stem to stern. I dare say that a ripping good time was had by all. It is still remembered today, however, as the catalyst for the famous Cowskull riots that nearly decimated half the city. Feeling that a change of scenery was warranted, Lord Beddinbath, leaving Fred in charge of the studio, sailed for the United States. Once there, he traveled west to the fledgling movie capital of the world, Hollywood, California, in hopes of finding a North American distributor for the now notorious Treasure of Cowskull Island. His reputation, however, preceded him. So, after a disastrous meeting with famed movie mogul Mack Sennett, who had him chased from the lot by rabid dogs and Keystone cops, and beloved actor Charlie Chaplin beat him about the head and shoulders with a cane, Nigel fled back to New York, where he booked passage on the next boat home. During the long voyage, Beddinbath was frequently seen in the company of the nefarious Lady Houndstooth, heir to the Houndstooth millions and great-great-grandniece to the third cousin of the king's nephew's barber. The couple were constantly seen strolling the decks at night, scandalously holding hands and smoking American-style cigarettes. The entire affair, and the tragic events to come, would shake the pillars of English society well into the next century. On May 7, 1915, while in his stateroom sketching a nude Lady Houndstooth, Nigel's ship, the HMS Lusitania, was torpedoed by a German U-boat and sunk off the Irish coast. Lady Houndstooth and her drawing survived. Lord Beddinbath and his film did not. In his last will and testament, Nigel, having no known heirs, left everything to Fred the Moose, who, after the end of World War I, abandoned filmmaking altogether and successfully returned the company to cod fishing in the North Sea. In his later years, he would also dabble in politics and became a familiar fixture in the House of Commons. Since the only known copy of the Treasure of Cowskull Island went down with the ship, it was considered lost, never to be seen again. In 2012, however, a salvage group searching for evidence of undeclared war munitions said to be hidden on the wreck discovered a trunk with the name Beddinbath still legible on the lid. Hidden among its contents, consisting mainly of dirty socks and tins of pickled cod, was a small, waterlogged reel of film. It was, to the astonishment of all, the missing Treasure of Cowskull Island. Remarkably intact, but badly damaged, the precious film was turned over to a group of highly skilled technicians and preservationists. After countless hours of blood, sweat, and yes, even tears, and at a cost of over $500,000, the team, in a statement to the press, would later write, "We must throw up our collective hands in despair. This film is beyond all human hopes of saving. Bringing it to us has proven to be a monumental waste of time and money. It is our opinion that it should be returned to the Lusitania immediately and never spoken of again." We then gave it to a couple of kids on an old Mac, who had the whole thing sorted out and ready to go by nap time. And now, for the first time in nearly 100 years, with new title cards based on the original shooting script, and the best public domain music money didn't have to buy, we proudly present the lost film of Lord Beddinbath, found. The Treasure of Cowskull Island.